Hello everyone, good day. I would like to welcome you all to this learning video. But before we start, I would like to introduce to you myself. Hi, I'm John. I am a first year aeronautical engineering student at WCCATC Binalonan campus. I am very passionate about the aviation industry, and ever since I was a child, I love airplanes. That is why the purpose of this video for today is that I would like to introduce to you the aviation industry, and we will gonna talk about the history of flight and the aircraft categories. So to all those people who are watching this video, I hope you will enjoy and learn something. So we will gonna discuss now the first topic, which is the history of flight.
So in this topic, we will gonna talk about who are the inventors and who are the persons who contributes in the aviation industry. So we will gonna start first to Leonardo da Vinci. He produced more than 35,000 words and 500 sketches dealing with flying machines, the nature of flight, bird flight. He produced the Codice al Sole degli Oculi Code of the Flight of Birds in the year 1505 to 1506. He observed and used nature as a foundation for many ideas. Emulating natural flight was an obvious place to begin. And also, Leonardo da Vinci, he sketched such flying machines with pilot prone, standing vertically, using arms and using legs. He drew detailed sketches of flapping using mechanisms and means for actuating them. He also discusses in the Codex the crucial concept of the relationship between the center of gravity and the center of lifting pressure on a bird's wing. So let's now move on to the next person, which is Robert Hooke. I believe I can fly. Hooke is obsessed with the possibility that human flight might come about soon and that he might be one of its pioneers. He flirted with methods and models of flight-related machines, including those with grossed wings or springs which could be attached to the body. He soon concluded that neither the wings of the Frenchman nor the suspended basket of the Italian had any utility, and the same was true of a chariot powered by springs he modeled and tested at the same time. Hooke may not be our young man from the Isle of Wight, who could have traveled much faster than light. He would, however, have been as inspired as any of us by machines that are related to flying. And for the next, the Montgolfier brothers. The first successful man-made aircraft was created by Joseph Michel Montgolfier and Jacques-Étienne Montgolfier. The Montgolfier brothers were highly respected French inventors who were created with the first successfully piloted hot air balloon. According to the sources, the basic idea behind the hot air balloon came from Joseph Michel Montgolfier observing laundry dry over a fire. And also, as the cloth dried, the packets incidentally blew upwards. Joseph Michel Montgolfier tested this concept by creating a box-like chaser out of tin wood, covering the sides and top with taffeta cloth. So for the next person, we have Professor Jacques Charles. He is the inventor of the hydrogen-inflated balloon. Charles made the first flight with the hydrogen-inflated balloon on the year of August 27, 1783 from the Champ de Mars. Jacques Charles and the Robert brothers launched the first flight, and Jacques Charles was accompanied by Nicolas Louis Robert as a co-pilot. So let's now go on to the next person, which is Sir George Cayley. He established the modern configuration of an airplane as a fixed-wing flying machine with separate systems for lift, propulsion, and control as early as 1799. In 1804, he flew the first successful glider, model of which there is no record. His work culminated in 1853 with the completion of full-scale glider, then carried this reluctant coachman in the first manned glider flight on record. And for our next contributors, we have Wilbur and Orville Wright. The Wright Flyer was the most crucial design to influence modern-day military and commercial aviation. Wilbur and Orville Wright designed the Wright Flyer. The Wright Flyer was the first piloted engine-powered airplane. The wings of the Wright Flyer were symmetrical by design to stabilize the plane. So the Wright brothers successfully launched the original Wright Flyer model on December 17, 1903, and the first flight of the Wright Flyer model traveled a total distance of 120 feet. So let's now talk about Otto Lilienthal. He is known as a German aviation pioneer. He is the most significant aeronautical pioneer in the years. Flying was Lilienthal's childhood dream, and he was born on 23 May 1848 in Aklam. He used every spare minute from an early age to study the flight of birds. He was the first man to describe the physical laws of work in aviation, be it flying by birds or airplanes. He validated his theories in numerous flights. The Lilienthal glider was well prepared to fly in calm winds or with moderate headwind, but not in more complicated windy conditions. So for our last inventors, we have William Samuel Hansen. In 1838, Hansen became interested in the aviation industry. In April 1841, he patented an improved lightweight steam engine, and with fellow lace-making engineer John Stringfellow. In 1842, he designed the large passenger-carrying steam-powered monoplane with a wingspan of 150 feet, which he named Aerial Steam Carriage. So let's now move on to our next topic, which is the aircraft categories. In here, we will gonna talk about 4 aircraft categories, which is the airplane, the lighter than air, the rotorcraft, and glider. So the first one that I will gonna discuss to you is the lighter than air. The lighter than air refers to materials that are buoyant in the air because they have densities lower than that of air. Some of these gases are used as lifting gases in lighter than air aircraft, which include free balloons, moored balloons, and airships to make the whole craft on average lighter than air. So as you can see in the pictures, here are the examples of a lighter than air aircraft. So for our next aircraft categories is that we have gliders. In simple words, a glider is a special kind of aircraft that has no engine. Gliders require little or no human assistance while traveling. They harness wind energy due to their aerodynamic design. So here are the importance and use of a glider. First is the gliders were used in the olden days for studying the basic concept of aerodynamics and flight control. In earlier days, all the new design experiments were done by making a glider as it was cheap than making an engine aircraft for testing purposes. And the second is that Wright brothers also used gliders to design the most accurate and effective design of aircraft. They were the most experienced glider pilots in the world. And for number 3, nowadays there are many research projects are based on gliders like X-gliders and underwater gliders for ocean research. For the X-gliders, this is research done by NASA to explore the different flight techniques by the use of experimental gliders. And the underwater gliders for ocean research there are many research papers displayed on this nowadays. Simply, an underwater glider is an autonomous, unmanned underwater vehicle used for ocean science. And for number 4, nowadays, glider flying has turned out to be a sport, and it is known as gliding. Gliding is a recreational activity and a competitive air sport in which pilots fly unpowered aircraft known as gliders or sailplanes, using naturally occurring currents of rising air in the atmosphere to remain airborne. So as for conclusion for these categories, gliders are one type of aircraft which does not contain an engine. Gliders have been a very essential part of the aviation field since earlier times. They were used to study the basis of aerodynamics and flight control principles, test different aircraft designs, and other design-related principles. Gliders are cheap as compared to aircraft which run on an engine. Gliders have many uses, like they are used in adventure sports, to study the design and flight control features of an aircraft. Many competitions are organized related to gliders and etc. So as you can see in the pictures, here are the examples of a gliders. So let's now go on to the next aircraft categories, which is the airplane. We all know that airplanes are transportation devices that are designed to move people and cargo from one place to another. Airplanes come in many different shapes and sizes depending on the mission of the aircraft. The airplane shown on this slide is a turbine-powered airliner which has been chosen as a representative aircraft. So as you can see in the picture, we have the Boeing 717 and Airbus as an example for airplanes. And for our last categories, we have the rotorcraft. The rotorcraft can generally be divided into 2 categories. We have the helicopters and the gyroplanes, often referred to as gyrocopters or autogyros. A helicopter uses one or more powered rotors or rotary wings to fly and maintain directional control, while a gyroplane uses a traditional engine and propeller for thrust and an unpowered rotor for lift.
So that's it for today. I hope that you have enjoyed and learned something from this video about the aviation industry. Again, I am John and thank you for watching.